saying he was trying to protect eastern Oklahoma from turning into a reservation. Governor Kevin Stitt strongly criticized the Oklahoma Senate's successful vote to override 2 more of his vetoes. With details on the legislation involved and more reaction to those vetoes, we turn to Capitol correspondent Jason Doyle, who joins us from our OETA studio at the Capitol. Jason.
Rich, Governor Stitt's concern is that the veto overrides will continue to embolden tribes in the wake of the U.S. Supreme Court's McGirt decision. The Oklahoma Attorney General is also taking action concerning a lawsuit over gaming compacts.
Please recognize Pro Tem Treat for a motion.
That opening motion is how the Senate's veto override on Senate Bill 26X got underway this week. That law makes way for an extension of tribal tobacco compacts, which would have expired this year. Senate President Pro Tem Greg Treat says the reason for the extension is to give the governor more time to negotiate with the tribes, not take that power away.
Those who would purport that we are removing the governor's authority to negotiate have a misunderstanding of what this actually does. This extends his ability to negotiate by 1 year to the end of December.
But he adds, there's a time limit.
And if this body finds that the governor is not negotiating in good faith, I reserve the right as the leader of this body, and you all shall reserve the right to change that law if we so desire and have the support to do so next year.
Governor Stitt recently held a news conference asking senators to not override the veto because he was offering a replacement compact which would prevent the tribes from expanding past trust land. He also fears that by overriding his veto, the legislature is ceding power to the tribes in the wake of the U.S. Supreme Court's McGirt decision. Stitt had his supporters on Monday.
The letter of the law, which is what we've adhered to in the McGirt decision, when we validate these things, takes us down a path that I don't believe that we need to go down. And it's a step in the wrong direction.
Senator Warren Hamilton believes these veto overrides are leading to the balkanization of eastern Oklahoma.
If we vote to override the governor's veto, we're taking steps in the direction that led Bosnia to its eventual ruin.
As predicted by Treat about 3 weeks ago when the first override failed, the Senate did narrowly have enough votes.
Close the roll. Have received 34 aye votes and 7 nay votes. I declare Senate Bill 26 to become law, the governor's objection notwithstanding.
House Bill 1005X, the license tag compact extension, was also overridden by the same margin in the Senate on Monday. Shortly after the votes were tallied, Governor Stitt issued a statement saying, quote, "Despite real concerns for the future of our state, the Senate has chosen to disregard the governor's compact in favor of compact language the tribes wanted. I am trying to protect eastern Oklahoma from turning into a reservation, and I've been working to ensure these compacts are the best deal for all 4 million Oklahomans. Unfortunately, the Senate seems to disagree and used an illegitimate process to do so." The governor's concern stems from the U.S. Supreme Court's McGirt ruling, which changed criminal jurisdiction within tribal reservations. His fear is that the tribes are using the McGirt ruling and other related court decisions to expand their power across eastern Oklahoma. But at least one tribe isn't looking to expand its power like that.
The concern that by extending this compact, suddenly you're going to see as the press conference the Oklahoma governor held, he posited that the tribes are going to start opening up smoke shops on every street corner. That hasn't happened for the past 3 years. I don't know how that's a reasonable thing to be worried about with only 1 year left on the clock.
Chickasaw Nation Special Counsel Stephen Greetham says the tobacco retail operations won't be expanding just because the current compact is being extended by the legislature.
Tribal law provides that our tobacco retail operations are located on trust land.
He adds the Chickasaw Nation is willing to work with Stitt.
Chickasaw Nation, we've already communicated long ago to the governor that we can work with him on some kind of an agreement that deals with the trust land versus reservation land issues. But we need to sit down and work it out. These are issues that we're not negotiating in a vacuum. It's been 5 years of difficult relations.
While the tribes and the governor appear to be headed back to the negotiating table over the tobacco and license tag compacts, it is Oklahoma Attorney General Gettner Drummond who is making moves to take over representation for the state of Oklahoma in a federal lawsuit concerning 4 gaming compacts. Treat and House Speaker Charles McCall filed a legal challenge to the compacts that included a provision for sports betting, which has yet to be approved by the legislature.
Treat 1 and Treat 2 very clearly established the legislature's role and also said that the governor had violated state law in entering those compacts with those 4 tribes. He is now seeking to have a federal bureaucracy overrule state law and say that he can do things that state law and the state constitution says he can't.
Despite the Oklahoma Supreme Court's ruling that Stitt's gaming compacts were invalid, Stitt submitted them to the Department of Interior for approval. Some of the larger tribes with existing gaming compacts filed a lawsuit against the federal agency, Stitt, and the 4 tribes involved with Stitt's gaming compact to prevent it from going into place. Drummond filed with the court to take over the representation for the state, saying in part, the governor is free to make his own decisions regarding how he wants to interact with the tribes, but he is not free to violate Oklahoma law. I am taking this action in order to uphold the law and defend our Constitution. After this week, all eyes return to the Oklahoma House.
We need the House to finish the work and to give us the time to do the real work.
The House is expected to take up the veto override of Senate Bill 26X on Monday, July 31st, the day lawmakers set as the final day for the special session.